Hello, and welcome to our first Minecraft Mondays video. A new series where every Monday I'll be publishing new Minecraft content, whether it be updated mechanics, cool builds, or custom plugins that I'm working on. Anyway, I'm irritating this, and today we're going to be talking about blast mining in Minecraft 1.14. Before we get too far into the video though, I'd like to apologize. I did say that this video, along with my next giveaway, would be last week, but I ended up not being able to record decent audio in the hotel room while I was on vacation. As a result, I decided to postpone for quality's sake. Okay, since that's out of the way, let's go then. There were a lot of changes in Minecraft 1.14, but there is one that I haven't seen talked about as much as it maybe should. And it's that TNT and TNT minecart explosions now have 100% drop rate. This change had me pretty excited at first, as it makes it sound like blast mining might actually finally become useful as a method of quickly obtaining ores and resources. But is it really? The quick answer is no, not particularly, but there might be more to this. First off, the biggest elephant in the room is that TNT crafting is expensive and tedious. For this reason alone, blast mining is probably not really a feasible concept. Let's get more specific. Getting even a stack of TNT would require 320 gunpowder and 256 sand. The sand is definitely not the difficult part here, but in order to obtain 320 gunpowder, you'd have to kill at the minimum 64 creepers with a looting 3 sword. And even that is if you get the max gunpowder drop from every single creeper, but there's always a chance to get less than 5 down to even 0. So realistically, if we assume 2.5 gunpowder per creeper, that's 128 of those deadly green things that you'd have to hunt down. And remember, this is all for only a single stack of TNT. Which, to put into perspective, looks like this. There's anywhere from 64 to 128 plus creepers worth of TNT here. It doesn't look like much. And then, of course, there's the time spent on wiring that sucker up. I went a little overkill here, but you get the idea. All of this takes an extraordinary amount of time to farm and set up. I mean, it took me about 15 minutes on my laptop in creative mode to do this. Finally, there's the explosion. Just a tad underwhelming of a result for how much resources were spent here. This would be a bit more impressive, totally underground, and if there was a low ceiling above each piece. But then again, you'd have to mine out some of that space to place and wire all this TNT anyway. All of this could definitely have been done in less time with an efficiency 5 shovel and pickaxe. That being said, I think it's likely that blast mining, at least for resource gathering purposes, is a bust. That is unless, of course, you want to spend the time setting up an absolutely crazy gunpowder farm. One in particular I found was published just over a week before this video is being posted from another channel called LogicalGeekBoy. I'll leave a link in the description to his video, but to quickly cover this tangent, he was able to get some insane rates of gunpowder production. To see specifics, you'll need to watch his video, but that being said, definitely check out Logic's channel. He makes some really cool stuff and goes into a lot of detail in his videos. Anyway, to get back on topic, that doesn't mean TNT is entirely useless for blast mining though. If you're already spending a lot of time in a survival playthrough, you probably don't need to build a farm to eventually have enough gunpowder to simply speed up your mining slightly for short periods of time. For example, it could be used to create a new hallway for a strip mining operation, all the while ensuring that you'd get any valuables broken while opening up a cave. It's also a nice little break from the standard pickaxe mining that we've probably done a ton of by now. And while the implications of blast mining in single-player survival aren't all that impressive, it's absolutely helpful in multiplayer settings. I haven't played factions in quite some time, but one downside to traditional TNT cannons was the possibility of destroying placed blocks. While chests would break without destroying the contents, it was at one point commonplace to store some expensive blocks as is to discourage breaking them. People got the satisfaction of griefing by destroying them, but the owner knew that there was a good chance they didn't benefit from your treasure as much as they could have. Now, with the changes to TNT, this concept is all thrown out the window unless you're raiding with creeper eggs or other explosives. Aside from factions though, it also means that builds can be quickly torn down without losing any material blocks. I'd imagine that a townie server, or players using standard grief prevention, might find this useful. One last thing I'd like to discuss before we wrap things up here. As we've seen, blast mining is still not a great mechanic for mining in Minecraft, but what might change that? There's a few things that Mojang could do to make this mechanic worthwhile, and maybe they will. Why change TNT drop rates to 100% if it's still not super useful? Though I wouldn't get your hopes up, as this was implemented from a community suggestion and not something that Mojang had planned themselves. Anyway, there are a few ways I think that they could make blast mining more feasible. First off, they could make TNT easier to craft. This one has some implications for multiplayer servers and might impact griefing frequency, but I'd argue that this is something that competent server owners should be able to mitigate on their own and thus a non-issue. Mojang could also increase the power of TNT, or even lower the blast resistance of commonly mineable blocks such as stone or any type of ore. All blocks in Minecraft have a blast resistance that impacts how many blocks will be destroyed when an explosion happens nearby. This can be seen here with the difference between stone having a blast resistance of 30 and ores of 15. TNT destroys more blocks when surrounded by ore than stone, causing the glass casing here to be broken in some places. In my opinion, reducing the blast resistance of blocks found underground is the best option. I'd go with a reduction of 75% or more. Lastly, Mojang could allow for TNT upgrades of some sort to increase the blast power. I don't really think that this solves the issue, as it would still take a lot of gunpowder to craft, but would be a fun mechanic nonetheless. If you have any ideas for changes that Mojang could make, or any methods of using blast mining in better ways, I'd love to see them in the comments below. Alright, well, I think that does it for today's video. If this video was helpful, entertaining, or you just want to be a pal, go ahead and leave a like, or subscribe for more Minecraft content for every Monday. Also, be sure to be on the lookout for a video this Wednesday, as I'll be giving away all the games in the May Humble Bundle. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.